recording of this lesson. Please write in the chat if you can hear me. Yes, perfect. Perfect. Everyone can hear me. Amazing. Let's get started with this live trading. First of all, let's go over the main pairs. As I sent already in the channel, I see only NZD-CAD as very interesting. Now I will explain why. There might be some other opportunities on gold, for example, but as of now, I don't really like this setup. I will explain everything in a second. US 30 might also be interesting, but US 30, I like to trade it during New York, during the New York kill zone. So, so soon, basically. Well, actually, right now, from now on. Let's get started. If you have any question, please write in the chat. And for now, I just want to go over my pairs. So first of all, we have EURUSD. You know, the EURUSD have been bearish for quite some time. The euro is losing value while the dollar is gaining value. Here we have this move to the downside, this overall move to the downside. Therefore, this change of character is not that strong for me. Now, of course, we can go a little bit more bullish, but I see bearish continuations coming for Euro USD. This is why I am looking for sells above the Asian range. So for example, here yesterday we had possible sells above Asian range. There was no possible entry for me, at least, because this right here was my confirmation. We go above Asian range. I know that we are bearish. This is confirmation. We want to enter. Let's say we also take this big up candle before the down move. We never trigger it, basically. So it was good setup overall, but no possible entry. I just want quality setups, so I just stick to the strategy, you know. Here, for example, today we had, of course, I'm bearish again. I wait for us to go above Asian range. After we go above Asian range, we just keep going with bullish scenario. Break, retracement to demand, break, retracement to demand. Now here, we finally break demand with this move, but I want to have a good entry. So my possible good entry is up here. And at this point, this time of the day, I just don't see it as interesting anymore, because by the time we come back up to this level, we're probably outside my trading hours already. Plus, there are possible higher areas from which we want to trade from. So I might as well just wait for tomorrow's Asian range to be formed. I don't know if we will form it here, lower, higher, wherever. Hopefully it will be something like this. We have a manipulation of the Asian range here. We either tap into this key area or the higher key area. We give a confirmation, and tomorrow I will look for shorts, basically. This is my overall idea for Euro USD. Let's go over GBP USD. Was interesting as well, but again, quality setups with quality entries. Here we had our Asian range, which is trending to the downside. This is a good indication, as when it is trending to the downside, we have higher possibilities of going short. We go above the Asian range. We are overall bearish, also on higher time frames, as you might notice. Here is just a grab of liquidity. I didn't even consider this as possible bullish. I go on lower time frames. Let's check it out. Yesterday, to be honest, I missed this one, to be honest. Today, I didn't miss anything. We just didn't have an entry. I really like to look at the 3 minutes. And in the 3 minutes, this was my confirmation right here. And once we broke it, you know, I want to have a good entry. So one can be this one, which wasn't triggered, not even this one. Best possible entry for me is this one above internal liquidity, which again didn't get triggered. I was eyeing this one for today, just no possible entry. Now, if we go on the 1 minute, you might argue that there was an entry, and I agree with that. Just that the 1 minute, I didn't really like the 1 minute setup, because as you know, we might get this little break to the upside, break to the downside. We didn't even retrace to this candle. So anyway, even confirmation on the 1 minute, we didn't give an entry tapping into the order block. But anyway, You might argue that this is confirmation on the 1 minute, let alone the fact that we didn't trigger the entry anyway. So in any case, we just didn't have the opportunity to get in. But I prefer to see a 3 minutes clearer setup in order for me to get involved in the market. Now, NZD-CAD, the reason why I like it is because overall we're bearish. We go on lower time frames, wait for the Asian range to be swept. We basically take liquidity of the Asian range, we go above. After going here, we get this confirmation. So which demand is in control? We have this demand, which caused this breakout structure. Therefore, this demand is in control. Now, this wasn't confirmation for me. If you go on the 1 minute, you might argue that that's confirmation for you. Or for example, I don't know, maybe something like this, that this right here is your confirmation. For me, it's just not because otherwise this also could have been confirmation. Once we break this, well, actually not, because this high didn't create any. Well, let's make another example. This one, perfect. Break to the downside, random change of characters, you trade to the downside, and then you just get, just hit a stop loss. Now here, my confirmation was when the demand, which was in control, was broken. Here it was broken, therefore I want to trade from the supply that caused the break of the demand, which is this one. Therefore, I am waiting for this. I will want to see a retracement to this area and a confirmation on the 1 minute in that case. Now, give me a second. All right, we're back. Let's continue. I also had EURGBP. To be honest, there was the only possible trade that I saw today was on EURGBP, and then as you saw, GBP USD. Even if we looked at 1 minute confirmation, there was no possible entry. NZD-CAD, there is a possible trade, but we need to go to the key area in order to have an entry. Now, EURGBP, there was a possible trade, but it wasn't one of my favorite setups. I would say that overall, the bias is not that clear. I mean, overall, we are bearish. Therefore, going with buys wasn't my best option, to be honest. I would prefer, now that we grabbed this internal liquidity, to start looking for sells rather than looking for those buys that we had earlier. So right now, if we create some good structure, I might actually look for sells, but we need to create something clearer, not just a V recovery, but actually go to the upside, create some structure, break it, continue, and maybe get involved here. Okay. Now, here, the possible entry that I'm talking about is that this is the opening price of the day, midnight New York opening price. We go below it. After going below it, we create this change of character here. Change of character. And this could have been a possible entry. Now, if you don't take this one, because maybe you don't like it, whatever, we go to the upside, create this breakout structure, create this demand, come back to demand, and have 1 minute confirmation right here. 1 minute confirmation with possible entry. This could have been nice, but I would have viewed it more as a gamble rather than an actual good trade, good setup, because we already pushed above Asian range. Therefore, I already prefer sells rather than buys. Second reason is because higher time frames are bearish, as you can see. We create this bearish push and we might look for sells from here. Now, these two reasons put together kind of didn't make me comfortable to take this trade. And you can see why. The last one is gold. Gold, let's go on 3 minutes. Gold overall bearish, well, overall bullish long term, but overall bearish for now. There is huge liquidity below this support, which was tested many times. This is just retail support. I kind of want to see gold go below it, possibly tap into this area and then go back bullish. I see gold bullish overall, but I see also this liquidity that needs to be taken on the weekly, which is really important. On the 15 minutes, therefore, my bias is overall bearish, as we need to go grab that liquidity. We push above Asian range, which was trending to the downside, and I'm looking for confirmation. We are here on the 3 minutes, and you might argue again that this is confirmation. And I actually agree, because we are on the 3 minutes. This is confirmation, and I marked out my key area. I actually took also 2 candles and not only one, in order to kind of give more space for the trade to be entered, but we just didn't retrace to the entry. Now, one thing for me, this is really important. One thing is that if we give this confirmation here, come back with a possible entry and go to the downside, and by this time I'm already break even or whatever. But right now we just reached this demand area, and this demand area, if we don't look at substructure, this is substructure right here, but if we look at overall major structure, this is just, let me delete everything and show you. This is just breaker structure to the upside, demand in control. Until this demand fails, I cannot go with sells. Now, this also might align with our overall strategy, because if this demand fails, and therefore we grabbed this liquidity, we need to go for internal liquidity. Therefore, this can become internal liquidity, this can become internal liquidity, and we might finally have our order block here to trade from once the price comes back and gives a confirmation. I want to see at least a 1 minute confirmation in order to take it. Now, I talked a lot. Let's go over your questions. I see our many messages here, which I didn't look at for now. Let's see. New member here, man. Welcome to the team. I hope you like this live trading. We do it once per week. Then we have Marco, which just sent a gold possible trade. Oh, same. I was talking about it now. Yes, be careful with this. At this point, as I said, one thing is that if we have this change of character and I get an entry here, and by this time I'm already risk-free. But since we are at demand and the overall major structure, I'm not talking about substructure, which is this one, but major structure is still with demand in control, then be careful. I've been backtesting last days and I'm so frustrated because I'm following the setups of 2.0 course, but I don't see any results. Let's see what you're doing. Where did you write about the, so 2% minimum, damn. Are you sure you're following the setups? Let me see. We can see it right away. So screenshot before. And man, to be honest, this is already like, I can see why you're not seeing the results of the backtesting. You're going short from a supply that it is inside the Asian range. Have you ever seen me do that? Like, I don't usually, unless there is a very good confirmation or whatever aligning there, that doesn't happen. We just don't do it. So you're shorting from a supply that is inside the Asian range. And you also grabbed that, you also marked that there is liquidity here. So you're going short from a supply that is inside the Asian range, which we usually don't do unless there is very, very high probability of that holding. Plus, you marked that there is liquidity up here. Therefore, there is higher chances of the price going for this liquidity. This is already not right. Maybe here you were looking for confirmation. Let's go lower. Let's see some other examples. So this is, for example, let's go with the losses. Since you say you're not seeing results. Okay, here, this is the 1 hour. Is there a screenshot of lower time frames, or you just entered? We also don't just enter with 30 pips stop loss just because there is a demand. Guys, please be careful. Our strategy is not just entering at demand or entering at supply. It is not just waiting for supply and waiting for a change of character and entering. This is not our strategy. Otherwise, everyone can do it. Think about it. It's so easy if you just need to. It is so easy. It would be so easy if you just need to go on the 1 hour, mark out the supply area, wait for the supply area to be reached, go on the 3 minutes, wait for a change of character, enter, and profit. You will profit every day. Like you would just be like, everyone can do it. Here we are about to have confirmation, by the way, so that's nice. That's not our strategy. Our strategy combines with the Asian range, combines with liquidity, and you need to know how to start from the 4 hours and the 1 hour in order to kind of get the direction right. And then after that, you wait for your Asian range and you wait for the good confirmations. Now, how do you do that? You study the course and then you go here on the Discord on the best setups series, which I started releasing. There were many other examples already. If you go on backtest and tips, there are many good setups. If you go on case studies, there are all the case studies of the best setups that we want to take. And I also just added recently the best setups series, where I show the best setups that we want to take, where I show you the best confirmations that we want to take, combined with the Asian range. So that's it. I already looked at 3 of your trades on the backtesting and it's just not according to our strategy. So you're not really using the strategy. Let's see another one. Again, okay, there is liquidity on the 50 minutes. There is the supply, which is good. It manipulates and it breaks. But what about the 1 hour, which is the direction of the overall, which is the overall direction of, in this case, Euro USD. Also, here, are you waiting for confirmation or are you just entering with the 15 minutes? No, we need to combine things. Let's go over GBP USD, for example. I need to look at the 1 hour. In the 1 hour, I'm like, okay, we are bearish. Look at the 4 hours. 4 hours, we are bearish. Definitely bearish until we kind of change the direction. 100% bearish. This means that I want to trade above the Asian range with good confirmations. This means that we don't trade from supply and demands that are inside the Asian range unless there is some crazy good confirmation that really aligns with that, but that will be covered in the best setups series that I've been preparing for all you guys. This means that this can be a trade, but I'm not really a fan of this because we're bearish, and therefore I want to take this setup with sells, this setup with sells, this setup with sells. Now, as I showed earlier, this just didn't give an entry. Now, let's look at this one. This one is one of the 2.0 setups. We go above liquidity right here. We tap into higher time frames, supply right here. After tapping into higher time frames supply, we want to see if everything aligns. What aligns? The Asian range, the timing of the day, and the confirmation. Let's go. Asian range. So perfect. Before tapping into that area, we create Asian range. Well, actually, the Asian range taps into the area, but I don't want to enter inside the Asian range. Because if you enter just with the Asian range here, you might be like, let me show you. You might be like, oh, okay, here we have change of character, whatever you want to see it, enter from this supply. No, just we don't do that according to our strategy. We go above the Asian range, therefore we manipulate. What happens right after? Here on the 1 minute, probably you have confirmation. I don't care, I don't really like it. Here, finally, confirmation. So the setup is one of the 2.0 course setups, which doesn't matter if it's 2.0, 3.0, it's all put together. Like the strategy, it's all one. You need to start from the 1.0, understand the basics, then go to the 2.0, understand the 2.0 course, which are the fundamental, which is the fundamental part, and then go to the 3.0 and just go into depth about how the market moves. Here these are our setups according to importance. Here, after touching and going above Asian range, change of character to the downside. Coming back, let's see if we want to see even more confirmation. And I will say that this is the first trade of this week that I actually missed, and it was kind of too bad, but it was good. Here we just go to the upside, V recovery, no confirmation yet. Break to the upside, which is the demanding control which created this break, is this one. Break to the downside right here, possible entry. Now, as I said, one reason also, because one of the reasons why I missed it, it was because I took actually the whole last up move, not only the last candle, but the whole last up move, and it just didn't get triggered. Now, let's see with the 0.5, which I actually didn't check. No, not even. So in this case, even if I want to have kind of a quicker entry and not wait for, you know, the highest zone right here to be reached, the last up candle, but I want to make sure that I get triggered in order to enter, I might enter at the 0.5, but in this case, you know, might enter at premium, but in this case, we just didn't even tap into it. Therefore, it's just no possible entry. But anyway, you see that everything aligns from higher timeframes to lower timeframes. Here we have the change of character coming back into the supply. Now, to be honest, you don't know if this supply will hold or if this supply will hold, because this one was already good for me, this one, but we went for the higher one. But anyway, we mark out our two possible entry areas. We go on the 1 minute, we zoomed in, and until we have a confirmation, we don't enter. So it's pretty, this is how our strategy aligns. We cannot just go randomly. Hey, Edward, how do you define your order block in the NZD CAD chart? Which order block? Higher timeframes, lower timeframes? Which one? Damn, this is just dropping. Higher timeframes, I just saw liquidity right here being grabbed. And we just have a consolidation which broke structure to the downside. Can be this whole thing, like the whole accumulation right here. If you just want to be precise and just take this, then this is just a manipulation of the order block. We need to be careful, kind of differentiating between failing a supply or demand area and actually manipulating it. Too bad this is just dropping, but as always, we need to wait for confirmation. Like imagine just entering from here because you think that we will drop. It's just gambling. We don't do that. So if price goes above Asian range, you look for sells? Not necessarily. Look at the course, look at the best setups series. It's just an indication that if higher timeframes are bearish, so if your overall bias is bearish, you know that you prefer, sorry for the noises, it's ambulance outside, whatever. If higher timeframes are bearish, you want to look for sells above the Asian range and have a good key area to trade from and a good confirmation. It's just to understand, it's just to kind of filter your trades. If we are bearish and I want to trade sells, I just know that until we go above Asian range, I'm just not interested. It's not that you can say, oh, I look for sells above Asian range and I look for buys below Asian range. No, that's not how we trade. It's a mix of things. The Asian range helps us filter. EURGBP, I don't really trade it. This flip area, yeah, it looks good. I don't trade with stop loss above the flip area or whatever. I don't. I put stop loss above the protected high. I look for different types of entries. Is this change of character considered valid? EURUSD 1 minute. Where was that? Anyway, yeah, it's a valid change of character. Valid, but not my favorite. But yeah, valid. Was this analysis right with liquidity? Yeah. I mean, the entry now, but with the liquidity, yeah, there is liquidity. Double bottom, some internal liquidity, maybe a little, maybe you marked a little bit too much internal, like there is some internal liquidity. It's not like there is everywhere, but yeah, this trend line for sure, trend line liquidity, which of course was grabbed. So yeah. GBP, JPY. I've heard many of you talking about GBP, JPY today. As you can see, it's not on my watch list because it doesn't work as good as others for me. So let's see. We go above Asian range. Let's go check here. Where, okay, at least we are at an order block. Be careful with the huge bullish momentum. That's all I want to say. But anyway, we're at an order block. We are above Asian range. I would be careful with this bullish momentum, which is very strong, and we need to consider that. Let's look at the confirmation. And the confirmation looks good, meaning that we break here, and we have a possible entry, well, already, I believe, or if you enter with premium discount, we already have an entry here. Will I take it? No, I will not. I will not take it. As you can see, GBP, JPY is not on my watch list. This is my watch list. Here is the GBP, is the NZD CAD, EURGBP and Gold, and US30. Not this one. This is just to monitor. I have a house in Dubai and I need to monitor prices of the currency in Dubai, basically. But yeah, I will not take this trade. If you ask me if the analysis is correct, yeah, I just know that it doesn't work as well for me like others. Is this confirmation NZD CAD for longs? We break a structure to the upside. We go here. We have demand with confirmation. Yeah, we can go long. Just be careful because as I showed earlier, I'm kind of bearish on NZD CAD. But yeah, gold broke demand. Yes, nice. Let's perfect. As you know, as I said earlier, this is where I'll be interested in entering gold. I put an alert here, an alert, and I will send the signal if I take the trade with nice confirmation. What is this? Yeah, I'm not sure about your question. I mean, it looks nice, looks like you're analyzing a lot, but I'm not really sure about the question. We have some add question file. What is it? This is GB AUD. Man, honestly, looking at the 5 minutes, this is 5-minute chart on GBP AUD. It looks nice. Now we will need to kind of understand what's happening on other time frames. But just looking at that you sent me, it looks nice. I will check it now. Did you backtest GPV, GPY a lot? Yes, and it's not the best for me. Like, I wanted to have just 3 pairs to trade. Then I added gold, I added EURGBP, and I was like, and I'll also add US 30 for, you know, for the New York session. But, you know, I can't, that's it. If GPY wasn't working as good as the other ones, then I just don't trade it. Can we treat higher timeframes imbalance as the area of interest? I don't do that personally. I don't find higher timeframes imbalance to be any reliable for me. I just trade from order blocks and combine it with Asian range. That's just the point for me. Now here on EURGBP, I'm also monitoring EURGBP. We just went above this internal liquidity. We are bearish overall. As I said, I don't like V recovery, so I would like to see the price go back up above this high and then create some type of better structure to give an entry. So this is also possibly a good setup for today. That's NZDK just dropping. No possible trade from here. And gold, we're just waiting. Gold can be really interesting. So let's wait. You know that I'm looking at gold. I'm looking at EURGBP if we form better structure. And I was looking at US 30, but like before, I just like EURGBP, I wanted to see better structure. I wanted to see go above this one, then create some better structure, go to the downside. You understand what I'm talking about if you look at the best setup series and you just want to trade the best possible market structure that you're seeing. Like here, I just see that, you know, we are retracing to the downside. The overall, we're still bullish. I wanted to see clear market structure forming, break to the downside, possible entry. Well, here we just broke these lows, and these lows were not in control because this high was the one in control, and this low is the one that created this high. So with that being said, I just remember someone asked about JPAD, and then after that, we are done for today. You know what I'm looking at. Okay, yeah, JPAD, we went above Asian range, we went to the downside. So on the time frame that you were talking about, it looks nice. On here also, because we are overall bearish. So what I will do is mark out this area and look for confirmation here. Well, I will not do it because I just trade my pairs, but I'm saying if you do trade GPAD and you backtested it a lot and it works for you, because I have backtested it and it just doesn't work the best for me, then I will wait for this 1 hour order block to be reached. Well, 3 minutes or actually 3 minutes confirmation and going to the downside. How do you recommend to backtest this strategy? Due to not being able to go back too far on the 1 minute time frame. 1 minute is not necessary. You can use the 3 minutes for confirmation. I actually look at most of my confirmation on the 3 minutes. Sometimes 1 minute, but just sometimes I would recommend 3 minutes. And one key thing that you can do other than just going back is every week you look back at that price action of that week. So for example, every Friday, I go on EURUSD and I look at Monday through Friday, what happened. Then I go on JPUSD and I look at Monday to Friday, what happened. And if I missed some trades or if I made some errors or if I took some good trades, I print it out. And every lesson that I notice of that week, I print it out and I keep it for me. And ZDCAD, same. When it is Friday, I go back on Monday and I look from Monday to Friday, what happened. So that's another very good way to do it. If you want to go back a lot, I recommend backtesting the strategy per different with different possible scenarios, which I mean, this means that you want, for example, to test on the 1 hour, just back test the order blocks, which order blocks are holding the best and why. Then, for example, you go on the 15 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 10 minutes, and you just want to look at how price behaves with Asian range. So here, I go here and I look that here Asian range, we go above Asian range, and then the day is basically over. We start another Asian range, we go above Asian range here, and then we drop. So this could have been a possible trade. Now, for now, I'm just back testing what happens on the 50 minutes. So I don't care about going on the 1 minute or the 3 minutes to look for confirmation. You can do it. You can do that another time. I also noticed that in order to go with these sells, we were above the previous high, because if we are bullish, in order to go with sells, we need to be above the previous high, and that's the only way to go against the trend. The day after, we break this structure, and the Asian range is trending. It's trending, and this is the only scenario where we want to trade from basically inside the Asian range, if also here there is confirmation, which I believe that there was. So this is the possible scenario where we want to trade from inside the Asian range. I also noticed that we are below the previous low. We go below the Asian range, and this is already, if we have confirmation, under possible trade to the upside. Here, nothing. And I'm just backtesting on the 15 minutes. I'm just noticing stuff that can make me better. Now, of course, it is not the overall strategy, because if you want to use the overall strategy, you need to put things together. But you can go back on charts and try to understand the different concepts, how they work by themselves, and then backtest them together. So you can backtest on the 1 hour, which order blocks are the best. You can backtest on the 2 hours, how market structure moves and internal and external liquidity on higher time frames. You can backtest on the 15 minutes, how price behaves after manipulating either above or below the Asian range. And then you can backtest on the 3 minutes, or I recommend the 3 minutes, the best confirmations that you can see on chart. Then you put all the things together, which are higher time frames, direction, for example, in 2 hours, higher time frames, direction, and internal and external liquidity, higher time frames, order blocks, 15 minutes manipulations of Asian range, and 3 minutes confirmation once we are either above or below the Asian range. All right, with that being said, as I said already, this is all for this live trading. I really hope you guys liked it. If you did, I don't know, send me some feedback so I know that I continue doing it and I just do it as much as possible. You know what I'm looking at. Let's see if we got an entry, either on gold or EURGBP. And that's it. Thank you so much, guys.